Hello, in this video, I'm going to talk more about how less than truckload rate break can be analyzed or can be dig further down into so that we could derive some managerial insights. Given a company, a less than truckload company, um, and we requested, let's assume that we requested a quote for them, and then our product fits into their class 70. And if you remember class 70, we talked about it in the previous video. It was for our car accessories, car parts, food items, and automobile engines. And what they did is they told us that this is their pricing structure. If you carefully look at it, you see that anywhere between 0 to 500 pounds, they are asking us to pay $153.82 per 100 pounds. Okay, and anywhere if my shipment is between 500 to 1,000, they are charging me $124.60 per 100 pounds, and so on and so forth. All right. We do have this mechanism, and what you see here is on the left is that the upper limit ends, and the next pricing interval starts with that upper limit, and here that's the upper limit ends, and the next pricing structure starts at this previously upper limit. Okay, and then same story here and same story here, right? So there is no um, difference between this upper limit and lower limit, and so upper limit becomes the lower limit of the next interval. All right, this is typical, and what you see here is that the rate per 100 pound is going down. This is also reasonable because we are sending more shipments in more weight, and we are taking advantage of economies of scale. And this is again less than truckload company. Probably our shipment is not going to be, well, not probably, most certainly, since I'm using their less than truckload service, my shipment is not going to occupy the entire truckload, and therefore they offered me this pricing mechanism. So let's take a look at to see how much it is costing me to send certain shipments. For example, I already did some pre-calculations. Let's assume that I am going to ship 500 pounds. So how much does that cost me? So 500 pounds fall into the second category. So therefore, it is, again, these costs are in 100 pounds, okay? So it will be just 5 times this one, right? So if you calculate it, it is actually going to cost me $623 to send 500 pounds from New York to Los Angeles, according to this pricing mechanism. If charged according to the appropriate weight range, therefore, let's assume how much 425-pound shipment would cost. Well, 425 falls into this level, right? And then therefore I will have to use this number to calculate my total cost. So again, these prices are per 100 pounds. So therefore, my total cost is going to be 4.25 times 153.82. And if I do that calculation, that is actually $653. Well, what's going on here? So I'm sending, if I would like to send 450, okay, pounds of goods from New York to Los Angeles, I'm expected to pay $653. But if I'm sending 500, then I am paying $623. Okay. Um, so is this reasonable? My apologies. This is supposed to be 425. And let me remind you what we were talking about. Again, here we are sending 425 pounds of shipment. And if you do, we are paying $653. And if you're sending 500 pound shipment, then we are paying $623. Well, why am I paying more if I am sending less? Well, that's the question. So, wouldn't I want to send more if I'm paying less? In order to highlight the fact that I should not be paying more if I'm sending less, therefore we have to use rate break shipping convention. We use rate breaks to adjust these price differences. I hope the motivation is clear here. One more time, if I'm sending 425 pounds of goods of shipment from New York to Los Angeles, according to this table's calculation, I'm paying $653. Well, if I send 500 pounds and I'm paying $623, well, why am I paying more since I'm sending a lighter shipment? Becomes the question, becomes the motivation, and there has to be some adjustments made here on this table. Usually they give you this table when they quote you, and some companies give you the rate breaks as well. But it's better to know how to calculate those rate breaks by yourself, just in case you don't get the rate breaks. Okay, so how do we do that? It's very simple math. All you need to do is to make sure that you grasp the logic. Well, how do we calculate the first rate break? Well, imagine that we were sending a lower shipment, but we were paying high. So that was the logic. That's going to be the logic that we're going to be using here. So what would be the minimum amount that you will have to? I'm talking about the first rate break. So what should be the rate break in this category that we are after? Let's look at the next category, next interval, and then let's look at the lowest volume of weight that we could send in this interval, and it is 500, and its rate is 124x. So we know that up until a certain point, right, we have to pay this fixed amount, okay, per 100 pounds. But from the certain pound to 500, it is better for us to pay exactly 5 times 124.60, 5 times 124.60, just to make it even, not to pay extra for that extra for that lower weight of shipments. So we just set up the equation correctly. We make sure that we do that right here. It is basically what would be the equal amount of shipment corresponds to this this category. We call it W, and its corresponding price level 153.82, so that it would be equal to paying the minimum total cost at the next category. Okay, why we know that it's going to be much minimum if we use this equation versus this W, we know that its rate is already decreased in the second category, right? That's why. If you do the math, you see that 405 is going to be your first rate break. What is the logic here then? All right, so we have to update this table accordingly. So we have to also remind us that anything between 0 to 405 should be charged at 153.82 per 100 pound, all right? But anything between 405 and 500 should be charged fixed at 5 times 124.60, and this is equal to $623. Okay, so this gives us powerful information because if I'm sending, for example, 425 pounds, right, I should be paying $623. I should not be paying 425 times 153.82. Okay, I should not be paying this because this is much higher compared to 600 and $23, right? This is what we are going to be doing for the all other intervals here to get their rate breaks and then utilize them for our calculations, okay? So for the second rate break, again, you set the equation, you make sure that you set the equation right. For the next one, for the second interval category, so what is our rate break point between 500 and 1000? We look at the next one to benchmark our cost. So if we are to be using the third category, our cost would be, our minimum cost would be, 10 times 10. This is 1000 divided by 100. That will be 10. 10 times 106.10, right? And then since we do not know the rate break here, we call it V. And it is the V times, it is corresponding price category level. And then if you leave V alone, you see that it is actually 852 pounds. So we already know that, get rid of them then, from 500 to 805, 852, then we charge at 124.6, okay, per 100 pound, and between 852 and 1000 pounds, then we charged fixed at it would be 10 times 106.1, therefore it has to be $1061. So if you're sending, for example, 900 pounds, you just pay a fixed amount of $1,061, okay? All right, so you'll continue. How do we calculate the third rate break? So the rate break here, it depends on how much it would cost if we use the fourth category. So it is actually, yeah, let's do it this way. 2000 divided by 100 because our prices are per 100 pounds. So multiplied by 89.24. And we are using third rate break price level times V. So we let V alone, and we see that our rate break here is equal to 1,682 pound. Okay. So let's write it down. Okay, and then we do find the fourth rate break here. For this one, we will have to look at the next interval. Times 76.95, and this is 89.24 times V, and we let V alone, and then we find uh, 4,300 is our next rate break. We do not have any rate break here because we don't know the capacity or the interval and then its price level for the next one. Probably if you are shipping more than 10,000 pounds, then they will start charging you a full truckload amount. Okay. If you actually use this rate break information and put everything on a graph, it would look like this, right? For example, this first rate break is here. Again, on the y-axis, you have the total cost. On the x-axis, you have the weight. The first rate break happens at 405 pounds, right? So 405 pounds. The second one is 852. The third one is 1682. And we have another one somewhere here. These are not to the scale. Let's assume like this. And maybe we do have another one here. And in this case, it is 4,311. Okay. And then your total cost. So during this time interval right here, sorry, so 405 should come here. 852 should come here, right here. 852 and 1682 should come here, and 4,311 should come here. All right, so because these categories are going to be 500, 1,000, 2,000, and 5,000, okay? All right, so this is how it look like. So when do we use this information? Well, now we do know all the rate breaks. We can actually rewrite the table, the coded table for us, right? Now we know that everything between 0 to 405, 405, remember it is our first rate break point in the first interval. Then our shipment is going to be charged at 153.82 cents per 100 pound that we send. But if it is between 405 and 500 pounds, then it's going to be charged exactly $623. That's because the next interval's lowest cost is going to be 500 pounds, right, times its rate right over here. And this is how we calculate it. $623. Well, according to this mechanism, then what should be the cost of 1,500 pounds then? Well, let's look at 1,500 pounds category. It is right here. And according to this information, it is going to be charged at 106.10 per 100 pounds. Well, we do have this times 106.1, right? So if you do the math, let's do the math. It is 15 times 106.1 should be 1,591.5. What about 1,800 pounds? Well, 1,800 pounds goes into this category, and it is basically in the rate break interval, and it says that it is going to be charged exactly. I don't have to do any math because I did it already. It has to be $1,785. What about 2,000 pounds? Well, 2,000 pounds is here, and it is basically telling us that it should be charged exactly at this price. Well, it is actually literally in this category's price too, so it is identical. Okay. All right, this simplifies a lot of things. Well, let me ask you another question. What about, for example, 4,500 pounds, right? What will be the total cost? And 4,500 should belong to this interval. And again, it is charged exactly this much, right? So I should be paying $3,847.15. All right, in a summary, this is where you use this information. There are some further questions down here. Basically, we can answer these questions very easily by using the information here. Let's do that. Let's talk about 200-pound shipments. How much is going to cost us? Well, anything between 0 to 405 pounds, it's going to be charged by this much. So 153.82 cents. So it is 200 divided by 100 times 153. Forgot the price level. 153.82. Well, it's actually here. All right. I'm not going to do the math. And what about 450? Well, 450, we just did that, I guess, right? 450 is right here in this category, and it has to be charged exactly $623. So it has to be $623. And it says a shipment rating, 1,800 pounds. In that case, 1,800 pounds. We already answered that here, 1785. 4,000. 4,000 goes into this category. It has to be charged at $89.24. All right, this should be your total cost. Okay, so in summary, being able to find rate breaks in each price interval is very important to estimate the total cost, and it's going to be very useful when you put your plan together for your transportation. Thank you.